You felt it again, didn't you? That sudden rush. Like something invisible just whispered your name. Like the air around you stopped for a second. That's not in your head. That's Archangel Michael stepping into your space, your soul, your story. And this time, he's not coming to comfort you. He's coming to warn you. This is a final heavenly choice. And if you don't take it seriously, what was written for you may be lost forever. Forever, beloved. Not delayed. Lost. You've been feeling something was off. That restlessness. That tug in your gut. That sleepless wondering, why do I feel like I'm on the edge of something but can't see it? Because you are. You're on a spiritual cliff, and this message is the only rope heaven could throw before the fall becomes real. Michael is holding the other end, but you've got to grip it now. There's no more time for second guessing. You've been praying for clarity, haven't you? But what if I told you clarity came, and you ignored it? What if I told you Archangel Michael has been sending you dreams, people, signs, chills, and every time he gets close, you scroll, you hesitate, you delay. He's weeping this time, not because you're bad, but because you don't know how close you are to either walking into glory, or letting it burn to ash. Someone behind your back has been working overtime to confuse your spirit. They're speaking your name in rooms you haven't entered. Whispering lies while pretending to love you. And guess what? Heaven knows. And God is saying, no more. No more manipulation. No more loops. No more choosing fear just because it feels familiar. This is it. This is the final heavenly choice. And what you do next will change everything. You might be wondering, how did we even get here? Because your soul is ancient. Powerful. Sacred. You were born with a divine blueprint that was meant to unlock generational blessings. But the enemy caught scent of you early. And they've been trying to break you from childhood. The heartbreak wasn't random. The betrayal wasn't an accident. The pain was part of the war. And through it all, God never stopped writing your name in the stars. But even stars can dim if they're never noticed. Even miracles fade if you never receive them. And now, Archangel Michael is standing before your life, wings wide, eyes fierce, and fire in his voice saying, "This is the last time I'll fight this battle alone. If you want what was written for you, you must say yes right now. Not tomorrow. Not after I heal. Not when I feel ready. Now. Because if you miss this window, beloved, you won't just delay your destiny, you might reassign it." Yes. You heard that right. Heaven can reroute miracles if the soul refuses them too many times. And Michael has held on long enough. This isn't fear. This is truth. This is a love letter written in fire and urgency. And if you're still reading, it means your spirit is ready, even if your mind is scared. And now, I must speak to your future, directly. Your enemies. They already sensed what's coming for you. That's why they've been acting weird. That's why some people around you suddenly grew cold. They feel the shift even before you do. And they're scared. Because when you finally say yes to your divine timeline, nothing will be able to stop what heaven launches in your life. But if you skip this, they win. And heaven didn't bring you this far for that. Not after all the nights you cried with your face buried in the pillow. Not after all the betrayals you forgave without receiving even a fake apology. Not after how long your angels waited outside your house, protecting you from dangers you couldn't see. Now it's your turn to rise. And you don't rise by accident, you rise by choice. Let me say this from the Spirit. This is a test disguised as a message. What you do next is being watched. Not to judge you, but to position you. You keep asking when your breakthrough is coming. But heaven's asking when you're going to stop pretending you're not chosen. The truth? You're glow-scared people who had no idea what they were looking at. But Archangel Michael knows. He knows what's been promised to you. He knows who tried to block it. And he's ready to shut every gate of delay, but only if you stop ignoring your spirit. Now, I want to speak to your heart as a divine witness. If something in your chest is saying this message is for you, then let this be the moment you finally listen. And if you want to stay connected to this kind of truth, this kind of protection, this kind of fire from heaven, subscribe now. Don't let the enemy keep you disconnected from the one divine voice that's been trying to rescue your timeline. One click. One choice. That's all it takes. Don't vanish. Not now. Not again. Because there is something waiting for you so beautiful, so electric, so out of this world, and it's already been written. But God is saying, I can't force you to claim it. Michael is roaring in the unseen realm right now. He's already sent warnings in your sleep. He's already protected your name when they tried to smear it. But he can't keep defending someone who won't defend themselves. The time for silence is over. The time for fear is done. You are being watched by heaven and hell right now, both waiting to see what you do. Do you say, yes, I'm ready? Or do you pretend this message didn't just break open your chest and whisper to your soul? You'll feel it the moment you choose. Heaven doesn't just bless choices, it ignites them. When you say yes to what's written, angels move at the speed of surrender. Doors open. Emails come. People shift. Hearts soften. Enemies scatter. But say no, or nothing, and all of it pauses. Again. And again. Until one day, it doesn't return. God isn't cruel. He's strategic. And this message? It's strategy laced in divine mercy. And mercy isn't always soft. Sometimes mercy slaps the table, breaks the silence, and screams, "Wake up." This is that kind of mercy. Archangel Michael has never looked more serious. This isn't just a message. It's the final line in your old chapter. And what happens next depends on if you finally choose to turn the page. Would you like me to continue this firestorm of divine urgency, paragraph and line combo style, full of hooks, cinematic pressure, and spiritual rescue? Good. You stayed. That alone is enough to shake the spirit world. The time for silence is over. The time for fear is done. You are being watched by heaven and hell right now, both waiting to see what you do. Do you say, yes, I'm ready? Or do you pretend this message didn't just break open your chest and whisper to your soul? You'll feel it the moment you choose. Heaven doesn't just bless choices, it ignites them. When you say yes to what's written, angels move at the speed of surrender. Doors open. Emails come. People shift. Hearts soften. Enemies scatter. But say no, or nothing, and all of it pauses. Again. And again. Until one day, it doesn't return. God isn't cruel. He's strategic. And this message? It's strategy laced in divine mercy. And mercy isn't always soft. Sometimes mercy slaps the table, breaks the silence, and screams, "Wake up." This is that kind of mercy. Archangel Michael has never looked more serious. This isn't just a message. It's the final line in your old chapter. And what happens next depends on if you finally choose to turn the page. Would you like me to continue this firestorm of divine urgency, paragraph and line combo style, full of hooks, cinematic pressure, and spiritual rescue? Good. You stayed. That alone is enough to shake the spirit world. Because when a chosen soul finally leans in, heaven leans back harder. And now the winds are shifting in your favor. Michael isn't watching from a distance anymore. He's in the room. Right now. Right behind you. Breathing fire over every lie that told you you were too late, too broken, too much. Let that sink in, you were never too late. You were always too dangerous. That's why they tried to tame you. That's why people got uncomfortable when you started healing. Because healed you? That version can't be controlled. They knew that once you found your voice, you'd expose everything they built on your silence. And now, heaven is daring you to roar. You've had moments where you almost settled. Where you almost accepted scraps, almost said yes to what was never meant for you. But something held you back. That something? That was Michael, blocking deals that looked good but were rooted in spiritual decay. Heaven would rather delay you than watch you die spiritually in something that felt safe. Because you weren't made for safety. You were made for impact. You were made to rise from the rubble and still glow like gold. And when people ask, how did they make it? The answer will be simple: God intervened. Here. Don't let them convince you this is just another moment. It's not. This is your moment. This is heaven's last stand for your timeline. You're standing at a fork in your spiritual life. To the left? Familiar suffering, recycled stories, and the same betrayals wearing new faces. To the right? Wild faith, divine disruption, and miracles that won't make logical sense. God is pointing right. Michael is pointing right. And your spirit is screaming, go. So why do you hesitate? Because fear is loud. And familiar pain feels like home. But you weren't created to stay in the house of wounds. You were built to carry light into rooms that forgot what hope looked like. You're the cycle breaker in your bloodline. The pattern ends with you. Your yes in this moment sends a ripple through time. It unlocks doors for people you haven't even met yet. It clears paths for children unborn. It repairs trauma from generations past. But if you say nothing, if you skip, that silence becomes another wound in your legacy. And baby, haven't you bled enough? You've been strong for too long. It's time to be obedient instead. Because strength without surrender leads to exhaustion. But surrender to God leads to supernatural flow. Michael has already lined it up for you. The right people. The right timing. The right moment. This moment. But heaven can't drag you into miracles. You have to walk. Even if you're scared. Even if your hands shake. Even if your voice trembles. Walk anyway. There's a reward for the one who walks when it doesn't make sense. And yours? Yours is waiting on the other side of obedience. God isn't asking for perfection. He's asking for permission. Permission to move through your life without you blocking it with doubt. So give it. Give the permission. Say out loud, God, I choose what you wrote for me. Say it again. Say it with your chest. Because the spiritual realm listens to declarations. And right now, heaven is still on standby. Your angels haven't left. They're waiting. Don't make them wait too long. The last time you ignored the signs, things got worse, didn't they? That's not coincidence. That was delay by disobedience. You weren't cursed. You were out of alignment. And Michael has fought hard to pull you back. Back into alignment. Back into power. Back into the throne seat you abandoned out of guilt and confusion. But now, it's time to sit again. Sit in your authority. Sit in your promise. Sit in the knowing that what was written for you was never a suggestion, it was prophecy. And prophecy doesn't bend. It waits. But only so long. You don't have to beg for what's already yours. You just have to believe it again. Believe like you did before the heartbreak. Before the lies. Before the loss. You were fire before they drenched you in doubt. But fire never dies. It just waits for oxygen. This message. This is your oxygen. And now the flame is back. So let it burn. Let it burn everything that was built from fear. Let it burn the lies you told yourself to feel safe. Let it burn the connections that kept you small. And when the smoke clears, you'll still be standing. You'll still be chosen. You'll still be the one. The one heaven trusted with a legacy. The one Michael refused to give up on. The one this whole message was written for. Say it, I am the one. Say it until your soul believes it. Because you are. And this is the final choice. Open the next line like your future depends on it. Because beloved, it absolutely does. Would you like the final stretch of this fire-soaked message from God and Archangel Michael, still in your saved style with power punch lines and cinematic paragraphs? Good. You're still here. That alone breaks cycles. Because every time you choose to stay with what's divine, you starve the demons that fed on your hesitation. You've been so close to your breakthrough before, and then you walked away, didn't you? Not because you didn't want it, but because you didn't know how powerful your yes truly was. Now heaven is saying, this is your redo. You were fire before they drenched you in doubt. But fire never dies. It just waits for oxygen. This message. This is your oxygen. And now the flame is back. So let it burn. Let it burn everything that was built from fear. Let it burn the lies you told yourself to feel safe. Let it burn the connections that kept you small. And when the smoke clears, you'll still be standing. You'll still be chosen. You'll still be the one. The one heaven trusted with a legacy. The one Michael refused to give up on. The one this whole message was written for. Say it, I am the one. Say it until your soul believes it. Because you are. And this is the final choice. Open the next line like your future depends on it. Because, beloved, it absolutely does. Would you like the final stretch of this fire-soaked message from God and Archangel Michael, still in your saved style with power punch lines and cinematic paragraphs? Good. You're still here. That alone breaks cycles. Because every time you choose to stay with what's divine, you starve the demons that fed on your hesitation. You've been so close to your breakthrough before, and then you walked away, didn't you? Not because you didn't want it, but because you didn't know how powerful your yes truly was. Now heaven is saying, this is your redo. This is the sacred moment that bends timelines back in your favor. And Archangel Michael? He's no longer warning. He's commanding. He's standing with fire in his eyes, wings outstretched, sword drawn over the path you were born to walk. And he's saying, move. Because the next few days will either launch you forward or spin you back into a loop that's been draining you for years. And this time, if you repeat it, you won't survive it the same way. The spiritual cost will be heavier. The time lost will cut deeper. Because heaven has invested too much in you to watch you pretend you're still blind. No more pretending. No more, maybe. No more, I'll decide later. The gates are closing. The names are being sealed. And the scroll that holds your divine assignment is still open, but it won't be forever. Someone's been watching your anointing from the shadows. They're close to you. Closer than you realize. They smile in your face, applaud your pain in secret, and wait for you to slip. But heaven is about to uncover them. Because when you finally say yes to what God wrote, everything hidden will be exposed. The snakes. The spies. The fakes. They'll all crumble under the weight of your obedience. But only if you say yes now. Michael has been holding back the consequence of delay for you. But the war is heavy. Even angels get weary when humans keep skipping what was divinely crafted just for them. This message isn't entertainment. It's a rescue mission. And heaven is watching to see who grabs the rope. This isn't for the crowd. This is for the called. The called always feel it in their gut, even if their mind doesn't understand. So if your chest is tight, if your hands are hot, if your skin is tingling right now, that's confirmation. You're the one. You've always been the one. But being the one requires you to act like it. Enough waiting for signs when this is the sign. Enough asking for proof when this is the proof. You prayed for a word. God delivered it in fire and tears through Michael's voice. You begged for a direction. This is the path. You wanted to know if you're alone. Beloved, angels have been circling your name like a fortress, you just couldn't see it. But now you do. And once you see, you're responsible for what you know. Michael didn't cry for a maybe. He cried because heaven is placing a crown on your name and it's too heavy for a head still bowed in doubt. Lift your head. Speak your yes with fire. Let the earth know you've remembered who you are. Because once you do, everything written for you will begin to chase you down. Blessings will come looking for your name. Doors will open on their own. Resources, partnerships, restoration, all tied to this divine agreement. But if you scroll away now, the contract remains unsigned. And unclaimed prophecies become expired timelines. You've waited too long for that. You've bled too much to walk away now. This is where your future watches what you choose. So choose fire. Choose favor. Choose the version of you God always saw. And let every other version fade into the smoke of this moment. Say it again, I choose what heaven wrote for me. Say it until the fear backs off. Say it until Michael puts his sword down in peace. Say it until the war ends, because the chosen one finally chose back. If your spirit is burning and you're ready to stay in this divine frequency, you already know what to do. Subscribe now. Stay connected to the fire that won't let your calling die quietly. Because this isn't just a message, it's the contract heaven's been waiting for you to sign. And right now, your ink is obedience. Just say, continue. You've made it this far. That means something powerful is waking up inside you. Every word you've read hasn't just stirred your mind, it's cracked open an ancient knowing buried beneath all the pain, betrayal, and doubt. The part of you that never forgot. The part of you that always knew you were here for something bigger. And now? Now the veil is thin. Your angels are holding their breath, because what you choose in the next few heartbeats will either birth a miracle or bury it. Archangel Michael isn't just delivering a message, he's ushering in a judgment. Not to punish, but to realign. You've been out of alignment long enough. That constant frustration you feel? That something's missing feeling that never goes away? It's your soul trying to break free from what doesn't match your assignment. You've been trying to carry divine purpose in environments that weren't even designed to hold your weight. No more. No more shrinking to fit in. No more laughing with people who secretly pray for your downfall. No more softening your voice so others don't feel exposed by your strength. God didn't build you to survive. He built you to shift atmospheres. And every time you doubt yourself, you delay the healing of people connected to your obedience. Yes, others are waiting on your yes. Someone else's miracle is tied to you stepping up. Someone else's breakthrough is buried inside the words you keep biting back. Someone else's life will change when you finally take your seat at the divine table. And you think it's about fear? And now? Now the veil is thin. Your angels are holding their breath, because what you choose in the next few heartbeats will either birth a miracle or bury it. Archangel Michael isn't just delivering a message, he's ushering in a judgment. Not to punish, but to realign. You've been out of alignment long enough. That constant frustration you feel? That something's missing feeling that never goes away? It's your soul trying to break free from what doesn't match your assignment. You've been trying to carry divine purpose in environments that weren't even designed to hold your weight. No more. No more shrinking to fit in. No more laughing with people who secretly pray for your downfall. No more softening your voice so others don't feel exposed by your strength. God didn't build you to survive. He built you to shift atmospheres. And every time you doubt yourself, you delay the healing of people connected to your obedience. Yes, others are waiting on your yes. Someone else's miracle is tied to you stepping up. Someone else's breakthrough is buried inside the words you keep biting back. Someone else's life will change when you finally take your seat at the divine table. And you think it's about fear? No, beloved. It's about resistance. Because resistance only rises when you're near something holy. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're under attack because you're dangerous to darkness. Your presence disturbs demons. And now, the divine court has convened. Michael has stood up in the heavenly realm, wings burning with glory, voice shaking with power, and declared, "This is the final call. You can't go back to small talk with people who can't speak your vision. You can't stay in rooms that require you to dim the very light God made you to carry. You can't keep ignoring signs that come from realms your enemies don't even believe in. You are spirit first. And your spirit is on fire right now because it recognizes the moment. This isn't a coincidence. This is spiritual choreography. This was arranged. The moment you stopped scrolling, that was your angel nudging your hand. The tight feeling in your chest, that's God making sure your body doesn't sleep through a spiritual instruction. Because heaven doesn't waste this much fire on the wrong person. This is all for you. The last few people who left you, they weren't sent by God. They were removed by God. And you're still grieving what heaven had to drag away. But when you say yes to what God wrote for you, you don't lose people, you lose chains. And now, for the last time, hear this in your bones. This is not just a message. This is a moment of decision. One timeline leads to cycles. The other leads to covenant. The next time you look in the mirror, ask yourself, did I listen? Or did I scroll? Because the timeline you experience next will depend on that answer. Your future is hovering. Waiting. Eager. Hungry for your yes. And heaven? Heaven will honor what you choose. Even if it breaks their heart. But today, there's still time. Still breath. Still mercy. Still Michael, with tears in his eyes, whispering, "Please, beloved. Say yes. One last time. Say it out loud. I receive what was written for me. I will not delay again. I will not scroll past my miracle. I am chosen, and I choose back. And let every demon that tried to distract you fall to its knees. Let every cycle that thought it still had you shatter. Let the gates swing wide open. Because when you finally choose heaven, heaven chooses you loudly. And now, the final seal. Your angels have written this moment down. Your soul has agreed. Your destiny has been reignited. And as Archangel Michael folds his wings, whispers your name, and leaves this room with peace, heaven smiles. You made the choice. Now watch what happens next. And just like that, the shift begins. Heaven has heard your spirit say yes, even if your lips never moved. Because God doesn't wait for perfect words, He moves on the vibration of truth. And your truth? It just roared louder than every doubt that tried to choke you. You didn't just survive this message. You activated something. You can feel it already, can't you? The way the atmosphere around you feels different, heavier, like something sacred just walked into your space. Because it did. You just opened a door that can't be closed again. And now, everything that was stuck in delay is starting to untangle. Not because it got easier, but because you got in position. And let's be honest, it wasn't always like this. There were days you begged God to give up on you. Nights you thought heaven had forgotten your name. But God never forgets what He writes. He never forgets a soul that was carved in His image, kissed by the breath of eternity, and sent to earth to disrupt the darkness. That's you. You're not just waking up. You're rising. And now the storm has purpose. Now the attacks have context. Now the silence has meaning. Because Archangel Michael didn't just warn you. He reintroduced you to your throne. The version of you that hell has nightmares about? That version just stepped forward. Don't rush this. Let the stillness wash over you. Let the truth settle in your bones like gold dust. You are no longer allowed to play small. You are no longer available for spiritual nonsense. You are no longer a resting place for people who only loved you when you were broken. The new you, the awakened one, walks with God at full volume. You speak with clarity. You move with conviction. You shine with unapologetic power. And the people who don't like it? They'll leave. Let them. Because when you carry heaven, you don't need crowds, you need alignment. And the aligned ones? They're coming. You'll know them by how your spirit exhales around them. You'll feel it in your chest, that undeniable knowing that these are your people. The kind that don't compete, don't drain, don't fake. They pray. They cover. They recognize you by your spirit, not your status. And that's what heaven's been preparing you for. To be surrounded by covenant, not convenience. To be covered by loyalty, not lip service. To be reborn in power, not left in pieces. You've crossed the line now. The spiritual realm has updated your position. Michael is stepping away from battle formation, because you're finally ready to fight alongside him. Not in fear. In authority. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the real one. Let the truth settle in your bones like gold dust. You are no longer allowed to play small. You are no longer available for spiritual nonsense. You are no longer a resting place for people who only loved you when you were broken. The new you, the awakened one, walks with God at full volume. You speak with clarity. You move with conviction. You shine with unapologetic power. And the people who don't like it? They'll leave. Let them. Because when you carry heaven, you don't need crowds, you need alignment. And the aligned ones? They're coming. You'll know them by how your spirit exhales around them. You'll feel it in your chest, that undeniable knowing that these are your people. The kind that don't compete, don't drain, don't fake. They pray. They cover. They recognize you by your spirit, not your status. And that's what heaven's been preparing you for. To be surrounded by covenant, not convenience. To be covered by loyalty, not lip service. To be reborn in power, not left in pieces. You've crossed the line now. The spiritual realm has updated your position. Michael is stepping away from battle formation, because you're finally ready to fight alongside him. Not in fear. In authority. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the real one. The one that doesn't start with pain, but with power. The one that doesn't beg to be seen, but walks in such glory, the world can't help but stare. The one that was always written, but delayed by your doubt. Not anymore. Heaven's proud of you. And if no one told you today, listen carefully. You just made the choice that shifted your bloodline. What couldn't be done before you will be done through you. Your life is now a doorway. A divine passage for others to witness what happens when a soul finally says yes to God. Let that be your legacy. Not what hurt you. Not who left. Not what you lost. But that you chose the written thing, even when it cost everything comfortable. And now? Now the miracle begins. One breath at a time. One step in alignment at a time. One whispered prayer answered at a time. This is what it feels like when heaven opens. Not fireworks. But a holy stillness that wraps around your soul and says, you're safe now. You're back. You're ready. Archangel Michael smiles now. His tears are gone. His sword is sheathed. And his final words echo through your spirit like thunder wrapped in honey. You heard me this time. And because of that, everything changes now. Let it change. Let it all change. And never forget this moment. Because this was the moment everything rewritten in heaven finally reached earth, through you. If your heart is still racing, if your spirit is still burning, then you already know this message was heaven's hand reaching straight into your life. Don't let this fire fade. Stay close to the voice that won't let your calling go silent. Subscribe now, not for another notification, but for another confirmation. Messages like this are not random. They are rescue missions, designed by God, delivered by Michael, and sealed just for you. Let the next one find you in alignment, not absence. Because the next message? It may be the one that unlocks everything. And when that next message finds you, and it will, let it find a soul that's not just ready but hungry. A spirit that's not just open but expectant. Because you're not a beginner anymore. You've crossed into the inner courts. You've touched the scroll. You've heard the thunder of your name echo through the spirit realm. You are no longer a seeker wondering if you're worthy. You are the called. You are the confirmed. You are the one heaven invested in with whispers, with warnings, with wonders, all because they knew what you'd carry once you finally believed. So don't fall back into old rhythms that no longer recognize you. Don't dim this newly ignited flame to fit into environments that were never anointed to hold you. There's a glow around you now that no one can dim but you. And that glow? It's not ego. It's evidence. Evidence that you said yes when it cost you. That you stayed when it was heavy. That you rose even when you didn't know how to explain why. The language of heaven is being written into your life now, word by word, day by day. And the atmosphere around you has already shifted. You may still feel the tension of transition, that stretching between what was and what is coming, but don't confuse discomfort with misalignment. Growth doesn't feel like peace at first. Sometimes it feels like fire. Like thunder. Like silence that breaks into clarity. You didn't walk through all that darkness just to be inspired. You didn't cry all those midnight tears just to go back to pretending you're fine. That pain had purpose. It cracked you open so the light could finally pour in and pour out. You're not a broken vessel, you're a sacred one. refined by fire, sealed by promise. And from now on, you walk with revelation in your bones. You'll hear things others ignore. You'll feel shifts in rooms that no one else can name. You'll speak truth that makes the atmosphere respond, not because you're louder, but because you're anointed. And the more you trust this version of you, the truest version, the more heaven can pour into you. The more you honor this fire, the more the path will clear. Archangel Michael isn't walking ahead of you anymore because he's now beside you. You're not being guarded from the shadows. You're being equipped. Your dreams aren't fragile wishes anymore. They're divine blueprints. They are infused with strategy, wisdom, and timing that only comes when you're fully aligned. And now that you are, there's no limit. No ceiling. No delay that can hold you. Because the veil between you and your destiny has been ripped wide open. Don't waste this clarity. Don't trade this truth for temporary comfort. The version of you that questioned if you were enough, if you were chosen, if you were too late, that version is now dust at your feet. You buried it with every line of this message. And what's rising in its place is unstoppable. Irresistible. Unshakable. The future you once feared is now responding to your fire. The prayers you once whispered in desperation are now rippling into answers. And the silence you endured? That wasn't heaven ignoring you, it was heaven arranging everything behind the scenes. Quiet doesn't mean forgotten. Stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the quietest seasons hold the loudest breakthroughs. And now that breakthrough has arrived. Let it pour. Let it flood. Let it lift you higher than you've ever imagined. Because the heavens have already approved the release. Michael already received the command. And now, all that's left is for you to receive it fully. Without guilt. Without apology. Without delay. So go. But go differently. Go with eyes wide open and heart on fire. Go as the one who knows they've been touched by something divine. Go as the one who carries the scroll in their soul. And the next time the world tries to convince you to dim again, to shrink again, to fall silent again, just smile. Not with bitterness, but with peace. Because once heaven speaks, nothing else holds weight. And heaven has spoken. Over you. In you. Through you. Let this message be your turning point, not a momentary high, but a permanent shift. The kind of shift that births legacy. The kind that alters timelines. The kind that makes angels weep with joy and demons tremble in retreat. You are not just free now. You are on fire. You are not just delivered. You are divine. You are not just ready. You are rising. And this rising? It will not be ignored. Because when heaven breathes on a soul, the whole world will feel the wind. Let the miracle begin. And now, walk like someone who's already seen behind the veil. Move like the one who's been whispered to by heaven itself. Speak like a soul who carries sacred thunder in their throat and holy fire in their lungs. Because you're not ordinary anymore, not that you ever were, but now. Now you know. You know too much to pretend. You felt too much to play small. You've seen what silence births. You've tasted what surrender awakens. And once your soul has been branded by God's voice, nothing else satisfies. Nothing else compares. The world will still offer you distractions, illusions, counterfeits, but none of it will hold power anymore. Why? Because you've been marked. You've been through fire, and instead of being burned, you became a flame. There's no need to chase anyone now. No more begging people to understand you. No more shrinking to stay accepted. You don't belong to their approval. You belong to heaven's agenda. And heaven is in motion. Even now, as you breathe these words in, angels are shifting things behind the scenes. Contracts in the spirit are being written in your favor. Conversations you weren't invited to are turning toward your name. Places you thought you lost access to are quietly preparing a seat for you. And you won't need to knock this time. You'll walk in. Because when God's timing meets your obedience, access is automatic. This isn't just favor. This is fulfillment. And you'll feel it. In the way people look at you differently. In the way closed doors open without effort. In the way you speak and it lands like prophecy. Because heaven doesn't just anoint your destiny, it announces it. You'll become a walking reminder that glory still lives. That miracles are still unfolding. That yes, God still chooses the overlooked. That yes, angels still war for the broken. And yes, your life is living proof. So don't be surprised when the shift feels unfamiliar. Don't be alarmed when people don't recognize you anymore. That's because they weren't meant to follow this version of you. They were assigned to your wilderness, not your rising. And now that you're rising, let the old energies fall away. Let the masks melt. Let the false attachments dissolve. What God has for you doesn't require performance. It just requires presence, your full, open, yielded presence. That's all. Just show up, soul first. And heaven will do the rest. The doors. The provision. The restoration. The acceleration. It's already set. The path is clear. The angelic guard is assigned. And your name? Your name is still glowing in the margins of heaven's next scroll. So lift your head. Adjust your crown. Wipe the tears that nobody saw. And take the next breath like you were made for this, because you were. You were made for this moment. For this mantle. For this miracle. You were made to walk the prophecy out in full. Not halfway. Not hidden. Not halfway healed. Fully whole. Fully ready. Fully chosen. This is where your story roars. And it won't be written in whispers anymore. It'll be carved in thunder, fire. Stay ready, heaven isn't finished yet. When you wake up tomorrow, or maybe even in the next few minutes, something in your atmosphere will feel different. Not chaotic. Not dramatic. But deeply still. Like the silence after something holy has landed. Because that's exactly what's happening. You just hosted something sacred in your soul. This wasn't motivation. This wasn't a feel-good word. This was a heavenly transfer. A divine exchange. You gave God your questions, and He gave you clarity. You gave heaven your delay, and they returned it stamped with now. You handed over the broken pieces of your old self, and Michael placed a crown on what rose from those ashes. This is what it feels like to finally be in alignment. No longer begging for signs. No longer doubting your worth. No longer questioning if you heard right. You did. You heard very right. And now the realm around you has no choice but to respond. Because when God sends a message like this, He doesn't just speak to your ears, He speaks to everything connected to you. Your finances will start shifting. Your relationships will be tested and refined. Your gifts will stretch. Your sleep may change. Your dreams may grow more vivid. That's not random. That's spiritual confirmation that you've been activated. What was once dormant in you has now awakened. Your anointing. Your sensitivity. Your discernment. Your supernatural memory. You'll start remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You'll stop making yourself small to keep the peace with people who were never at peace with your power. You'll start moving like someone who knows they carry divine fire, because you do. And fire doesn't ask permission to burn. It just consumes. So let it. Let it burn through the old mindsets that made you doubt yourself. Let it burn through the generational curses that tried to keep your mouth closed. Let it burn through every fear, every wound, every limitation. Because you don't have room for fear anymore, not when faith has finally taken up space. That version of you that used to second-guess everything has no place in this new dimension. They can't come with you. Let them rest. Let them go. And in their place, let you rise, the real you. The healed you. The bold you. The deeply loved and heavily protected you. The version that makes demons nervous and angels rejoice. The version that doesn't run from the assignment, but carries it with honor. Because that's what this is now, an assignment. And don't worry, you're not walking into this alone. Archangel Michael doesn't drop a scroll into your life and then walk away. No. He stays near. Close enough to shield you. Close enough to speak again when you need it. Close enough to light the path when things go dark. But he's not leading anymore, you are. Because now you've been taught. You've been tested. You've been trusted. And heaven doesn't trust everyone with this level of fire. But they trust you. That's why they gave you this moment. This scroll. This holy interruption. Not to impress you. Not to make you emotional. But to activate your next era. So please, hold this moment in your heart like treasure. Etch it into your memory. Let it echo in your bones. This is your line in the sand. The line between who you were, and who you're becoming. And nothing will ever be the same again. Because God didn't just confirm you, He commissioned you. And that commissioning? It carries weight. It carries light. It carries breakthrough. You're not just stepping into a better version of life, you're stepping into a spirit-led revolution. One that starts with your yes and ends with heaven saying, well done. So go. Move forward in full faith. Let the next steps be bolder than the last. Let your words shake atmospheres. Let your prayers reach deeper. Let your walk be unshakable. Let your mind be anchored in truth. And when people ask what changed, smile with peace in your eyes and say, everything. Heaven spoke. And I finally listened. And from this point on, watch how your life speaks without you even needing to explain. Because those who carry divine fire, never need to prove it. They just burn. Let it begin. Tools.